Hey, hi everyone. So welcome to the preview of Nadal versus Zverev semi-final match today at the French Open, and an interesting matchup. Both Nadal and Zverev are playing well. So we'll talk about the build-up to this match, how Nadal has played so far in this tournament, how Zverev has played. Then we'll talk about the key shots, the key factors, and also their performances in the past. And then we'll also talk about the prediction. So let's get started. So talking about Nadal, I think we all have seen the match against Djokovic. He played an amazing match. He and what amazes me is the strategy that he applied. Nadal exactly knew what he had to do against Djokovic and he executed it perfectly. It was a similar match to 2020, but in 2020 Djokovic was not able to make any sort of comeback. In the third set he tried a little bit, but Nadal didn't allow him to make any comeback. But in this match, I think Djokovic had to play a magical set, the second set, where he was down love 3. I think he couldn't have played any better in that whole match that he played in the second set. And that is why I thought that maybe in the third set he lost his focus a little bit. And then after that, in the fourth set, even though he was in the ascendancy, I think he was not able to close that set. And if it would have gone to a fifth set, nobody knows what would have happened. Anyway, so Nadal, I think, is playing perfectly at the moment now that he has achieved the major milestone, which is beating Djokovic. Now Zverev and the possible finalist, maybe Silic. Okay, so I think with those guys, Nadal actually knows how to play and he has a clear strategy. And those guys have one or the other weaknesses which Nadal could exploit. So I think for Nadal, it was Djokovic who was the key opponent. And because Nadal has been able to beat Djokovic, he would be really brimming with confidence. So let's hope that he continues that form. Now, talking about Zverev, I think Zverev has played a really great tournament. Also, he had to stretch one of the matches, which went to 5 sets. But in the last match, I was really impressed by his performance because the way he played against Alcaraz, who is an upcoming star, and everybody was talking about Alcaraz because of his performances, because he was able to beat Nadal also recently, and his form. I think he is also a sort of player who has all the skills, good presence of mind, good movement. And if you see the fourth set between Zverev and Alcaraz, had Zverev not played his best tennis at the business end of that match, definitely it would have gone to a fifth set, and who knows who would have won, right? But full credit to Zverev, even though the crowd was supporting Alcaraz, the crowd wanted the match to go to a fifth set, and Alcaraz was performing really good in towards the end of the match, but Zverev held his ground and played big points in big moments. So that is what really impressed me for Zverev. So he should be confident somewhat, but again, he's facing Nadal. He knows that it is the biggest challenge. So now let's talk about their 5 past meetings. So mostly on clay, as one would expect, Nadal always had an upper hand. And if you see the last match that they played in 2021 at Rome Masters, again, straight set victory for Nadal. But surprisingly, there is one victory for Zverev at the Madrid Masters in the same year on clay. Now, when you talk about clay, there are different aspects. Now, all these courts, when you talk about Rome, Madrid, or Barcelona, the courts play a bit differently. Even it is clay court, but the length of the court and also the area which is outside the court, which allows players to reach out for uh, baseline shots, defend well. I think the biggest court that we have is I mean, obviously Philippe Chatrier at the French Open. But when you talk about the other courts also, I think Madrid is a court which has more bounce, I would say, and which plays a bit faster. That is why if you compare all the matches, Federer has got more success at Madrid because he's able to attack even against Nadal. If you see, Federer had beaten Nadal at Madrid once in 2009, and also in 2011 he got really close to beating Nadal. Because the fact is, if you play aggressive on that court, sometimes it's easier to win the match. And that is why I think maybe it helped Zverev in a way in the Madrid Masters. But if you talk about French Open, it is completely different prospect. And for Zverev, it's a new territory because a lot of times he has played the fourth round, the quarterfinals, but semifinals. at the French Open is a new territory, new ground for Zverev, and that is why he would be confident, but at the same time there would be some nerves he would have, because it's the first time he's doing that. He has been to the finals at the US Open against Thiem, but still I think this is new for him, so there would be added pressure for Nadal because he has already beaten Djokovic. He would be confident, but at the same time he would be concerned about his own fitness, because his last two matches have both been very long in terms of duration, so 4 hours plus. So definitely he would not want to have a repeat of those performances here in this match. He would try to be aggressive and he would try to finish the match as early as possible, because he needs to get to that victory, get to the 22nd Grand Slam. That is really important for him. And I mean, more important for him is the French Open, because he loves this tournament dearly, and I think he really wants to win this tournament. So this is about the top, last five meetings. I still think that on hard court, because of Zverev's good and solid ground strokes, he has a lot of power in his shots, and that really help him to win on hard courts against Nadal. And because his first serve is also really good, if it clicks, it's really easier for him to dictate play. But at on clay courts, it's not easier to do against Nadal, because his serve is a little bit neutralized because of the court surface. And then again, if he's not able to make his first serve, then it's game over. So, talking about the key shots and strategy, I think for Nadal, we all know the forehand down the line is the key. It's working really well for in this tournament. Even against Djokovic, it was top class. And then a second shot I have mentioned as backhand slice. Now, this is the shot that Nadal didn't really use against Djokovic because he didn't have to, or that was not the correct strategy. But against Zverev, I think this is the best shot that he has, that he needs to use, because Zverev is not that good at the net, and he's reluctant to come at the net. And we'll see a few examples of some screenshots in upcoming slides. And we'll see that there are a lot of chances that Zverev actually gets when he could come to the net and finish the point with a good, decent volley, the same way Nadal does. Now, Nadal is a very clever player in terms of his net game. He is not a gifted volleyer of some sort, but because he has learned this skill over the years, now he has just mastered that skill, and he exactly knows when to come to the net. So whenever he comes to the net, most of the times you will see Nadal hitting an easy volley, right? And that is something that is missing from Zverev's game. Zverev is also not a natural volleyer, but at least he needs to come on important points where he exactly knows that he has hit a good approach shot and the opponent is in trouble. And all he needs to go do is to go to the net and finish the point with a decent volley, not an outstanding volley, just a normal, decent volley into the open court. But that is something is lacking in Zverev's game over the years, and that is something which Nadal and Djokovic or all the other players who are good from the baseline have been able to exploit, because this is certainly a weakness. And backhand slice, I have mentioned because Nadal is very clever, just as we saw Nadal's match with Medvedev at the Australian Open. After losing the first couple of sets, Nadal realized that when he was hitting short slice, Medvedev was really finding it difficult to do anything with it. He was not sure whether he should come to the net or he should stay back or how he should attack that ball. And that is why he was left in no man's land, and it gave Nadal some perspective, and he started using that shot more often as the match progressed, and as a result he was able to win the match and the Grand Slam also. So I think this is a key shot for Nadal, to deliberately play it short to bring Zverev in. Because Zverev is not comfortable to come in, maybe he'll just chip the ball, because the ball will be low, so he can't attack too much. So he'll chip the ball back, and then he'll try to go back to the baseline, to the middle of the baseline, to defend. And that will give Nadal a chance to run around his backhand, use his forehand, and dictate play. So I'm not sure how Zverev will deal with this strategy, but this is 100% a strategy that Nadal will apply. The third shot is serve. Obviously, Nadal, he's not a very big server, but he knows how to use his serve effectively. So on big points, I think Nadal's first serve will be the key, just to start off the point, not to hit an ace or anything, but just to start off the point on a good note. And I think Nadal is very comfortable once he starts the point. If he's in the ascendancy, he doesn't miss many shots. He can use his forehand time and time again to dictate play, and he knows when he has to come to the net and finish the point. So for Zverev, I think backhand down the line is the key shot, because Nadal will hit cross court forehand. He will try to push Zverev out of the court. and Zverev has to hit a good backhand down the line, and then he has to approach the net as well. So now we'll see a few examples of the shots. So as you can see in this shot, the point that I mentioned, it's just an example of that. Now Zverev has hit a very good cross-court forehand in this point, and it has been an angled forehand. So Nadal has been stretched outside the court. You can see the position Nadal is in. He's way behind the baseline. He's not even looking into the court. He has to stretch. He has to completely turn his body to defend this ball. But where is Zverev? Why is he still standing behind the baseline? Now, even if Nadal plays a weaker shot here, if he is able to place the ball somewhere near the baseline, the point is still on. The rally is still on. Nadal will be, of course, able to come back to the middle of the court and still continue the point. Whereas, obviously, you can see it clearly that Zverev should approach the net. Now, if Nadal hits a really great angled slice, it happens, 2 out of 10 times a player can hit such a beautiful slice. So then give credit to Nadal, and that point is lost. Okay, nothing is lost there. But if Zverev is able to come to the net at this point and finish it with a volley, it's easy pickings for him, right? So that is something is lacking in Zverev's game, and that I just mentioned, that he's reluctant to come to the net on important points. Now it depends. If Nadal hits this ball really short, then Zverev has no other option than come to the net. But Nadal doesn't do that often. More often than not, whether he's hitting a lob, a defensive lob, or whether he's hitting a slice, it will land just inside the baseline. And unless you are on the net, you are trying to finish the volley or you are trying to hit a smash, the point is still on. Now, this is the other thing that I was mentioning about the short slice. So in this point, Nadal has just hit a short slice, and you can see Zverev, he's not confident what he needs to do. It's not that he doesn't have time to reach to the ball, but he's unsure what he needs to do. Now, if it would have been a Federer or a Djokovic or any aggressive player, what they would do is they would come forward, they would take this shot as an approach shot, and then they would come to the net and ask Nadal that question. So the point here is to ask that question to Nadal whether he's able to pass that ball or not. Now Nadal has a very very good passing shot, but again, if Nadal is under pressure, maybe he has chances to miss that shot. But if and what Zverev exactly did here, he came forward, he hit another slice, a defensive slice, and then he went back to the baseline, hoping to continue the rally. But that is not possible, right? Because now Nadal has seen that Zverev is not willing to come to the net. And because Zverev sliced this ball and then moved back to the baseline, it gave ample time to Nadal to run around his backhand, and then he hit a clean winner, inside out winner in this point. If you see this match, it's 2018 match, I think, between Nadal and Zverev at the Rome Masters. So I request you all to see the highlights. You will understand what I'm saying. So that is the area of uncertainty for Zverev. Yeah. So this is the next frame of that point. And as you can see, Nadal has run around his backhand and he would take this inside out route and hit the winner there. Now again, so you can see here, now Zverev is not particularly in a very good position here. So Nadal will be able to hit a passing shot, but because Nadal is so far back behind the baseline, there are some chances, at least 20% chances, that Nadal might miss this shot. And because Zverev has a break point here, it's quite natural for Zverev to at least take that chance, go to the net, and ask Nadal that question. And what happened here exactly is the same thing. Nadal missed this shot, he hit the ball into the net, and Zverev got the break. So this is what I'm talking about. Zverev has to take some chances, has to be aggressive so that he is able to push Nadal. And he has to use his power also, because Zverev has good power on both sides, whether it is a backhand or a forehand, but he has to use it some, at in the full extent today, because that is the only way to beat Nadal if he wants to do that. Because when you compare the matches, if you see the matches against Soderling, the way he was able to beat Nadal, he was using his complete power, whether it was a backhand or forehand. Of course, the conditions were heavier. Of course, Nadal was not fully fit, and that did contribute to the result. But even now, even though Nadal is fitter, the conditions are different, but Zverev still has to use his power, because